Hey, so today I'm going to do a book review on Blindness by Jose Saramago. The book is about an epidemic of airborne contagious blindness that is sweeping the world. And so the government decides to put everyone in quarantine who has been exposed to this. So they use an abandoned psychiatric ward and they section them off between who are actually blind versus people who have been exposed to the blindness and have yet to go blind. They leave them food once a day, and that's about it. There's no intervention, and they're expected to govern themselves. They're not going to get medical attention if they need it. They're expected to bury their own dead and just kind of live self-sufficiently and govern themselves and come. Our main character isn't blind, tends to be in order to stay with her husband and take care of him when he's blind. And so she's kind of able to see what's happening and what's becoming of people. It has a lot of sentiments about karma, about the idea of good and evil, about human nature, cause and effect. Interesting sentiments all around about what makes us human and what makes a person's character and what makes a person who they are. It also has a very interesting sentiment about how eyes ties humankind together, and without your eyesight you become more and more of an individual and unable to collaborate with others. As people were blind, they were slowly losing the parts of themselves that kind of made us human and defined us as humans, so they didn't use names throughout the book because there was this sentiment of there not being a point for them anymore and things like that, and people were kind of slowly deteriorating, and there was kind of this theme of needing to function as a collective and all of us needing each other, and with this blindness people were unable to do that, and that's why things were collapsing. And the blindness was kind of supposed to be a blindness of our own instincts and our blindness to human nature and what that means, and kind of the evils and the person that we really, really are, not the person that we want to be, and things like that. And so I think that the book did a really good job at illustrating that. Though I feel like the blindness was supposed to be a metaphor, I think do a very good job at depicting, what it is like for someone who is blind. Like, I think if a person who's blind read this, they probably wouldn't be very thrilled about the way that blindness was represented, in the fact that people were unable to take care of themselves and were evil and selfish and, just dependent on people with their sight and dirty and just unable to maintain themselves. Even though I think the book did differentiate between someone who was previously blind versus someone just becoming blind and not being blind but just unable to see. But I still think it was somewhat problematic in that way. Other than that, I really, really liked it. The other thing that I really liked is it was so beautifully written. There's no real, punctuation in it. It's just these huge paragraphs, and there's no quotation marks or anything, so a lot of times it was kind of difficult to figure out who was speaking and things like that. Made it a bit of a long read. I think that it really worked for the book because it really gave you this idea of kind of what it would be like when everything is just kind of confusing and molding together and you're not really able to distinguish who's talking and what's going on around you and things like that. So I think that Saramago did a really good interpretation of what that would feel like through the text, and so I thought that that was really interesting as well. So overall I really liked it. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. This is the first. They're in, I think it's a 2-part series, so the second book is Seeing. I haven't read that. It's really a continuation, or if it's just the same characters but something completely different, because I wasn't super thrilled about the way that this wrapped up. So I'm thinking that maybe the second book wraps it up a little bit better, and maybe that's why. I'm hoping that's the case, so I'm hoping to that at some point. Read Blindness, or if you've read Seeing, please let me know. Let me know what you thought. If you've read any other of Saramago's works, please let me know how those are, because I did enjoy this, so I would be interested in reading more from him. So just kind of seeing where he should go next and all that good stuff. So yeah, I think that's it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Bye.